What's up, guys? We're back again. This is another edition of the Bird 2.0 Speedrun. It's day number 8. We're here in the boiler room. It's time to go. Okay, we got king pawn, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. We got to get it moving. We got to get it going. Okay, are we going to play knight g5? We going to get this? I'm still waiting to disclose my secret sauce. I'm still waiting to disclose the secret recipe. Okay, knight d4. If they play c3, we're going to go for it. Otherwise, I mean, a lot of people play d6 here. I would bet, yeah, everyone plays d6 though. This is like the 4th or 5th game now. We're going to see this on the channel, but yeah, he's just losing here. We're hitting both of these. Yeah, this is over. All right. Yeah, so we could take here and that would be winning because then we ultimately be able to hunt down this knight, but even stronger is this. And the idea is that now we're hitting the rook, and more importantly, we're freeing the square for our knight. Okay. And yeah, this looks like it's time to go. Bishop e2 will probably be played, and then we have knight f3. All right, he saw the checkmate. Kudos to this gentleman. He saw the checkmate. I really wanted to play bishop g4, actually, because takes, I think knight takes c2 is over. But actually, no, in that position, sorry, bishop g4 takes, he has time. He could play bishop d3 there or f3, and that's not that clear. I don't want to just win the queen, though, you know what I mean? I want to win. I want to win in grace. I want to win with grace. I want to win with grace and lose with dignity. Do we have anything else here? I really don't want to just take the queen. We could take this way, but no, then he takes here. That's getting really, really messy. Is there anything else here? All right, I guess we'll just take the queen and be happy. Where are we going now? I like bishop h3 a lot. Look at that. We're hitting the rook, and yeah, if he plays rook g1, now we have bishop g4. Well, bishop g4, he plays knight c3, though. I don't want to allow him to play knight c3. Let's play bishop e4 first. Of course, like there were a bunch of ways to win this position. I could have just retreated the queen and hunted down this knight. But I'm trying to play as dynamically as possible. So that, I'm happy to see that now, because now his knight can't come to c3 and defend the bishop with tempo. Can't we play bishop g4 here? Bishop g4 looks really cool. If he takes and I take, then he has f3. So if he takes, I'm going to first throw this check in. He plays bishop f1, then we take. He's going to take here, but then I take here, and I'm finally going for checkmate. He's just running out of pieces that are actually capable of defending his king, right? I'd be happy to trade these off because he's going to be left with these, which are going to be useless. We'll throw in a check. Playing Tarleson. Did you spell his name wrong? Brazilians have some interesting names, man. It's definitely time to go. All right, here we're just going to take. It looks like it's the end of the game here. I guess he's going to have to start running his king. No one wants to do that, though. All right, we'll take here. Let's just start checking. Plays king c2. We could just take again with a check. This looks like a disaster. King d2, we have queen e2 and queen c2, and that's going to be checkmate. Definitely going to be time to go. All right. King d3, queen c2, and queen e2. Looks like the game's over, pal. Perfect. Good start to the series. All right, we keep getting black. I'm fine with that, though. Means more games with king pawn. Man, I love playing these games at lower levels. Literally, like everyone is just, everyone plays king pawn. No one is hitting me with some English opening nonsense. All right, let's take this pawn here. Yeah, from what I remember, okay, so c3 is inaccurate. If he wants to play for compensation, he has to play d4. And that's an interesting situation, actually. After d4, I had always assumed that that was just equal. But it turns out, maybe I'd always just missed this, but yeah, black is better there if black plays correctly. c3 is definitely a mistake, though. This is going to be way too slow. Let's just seize the center with the tempo. Reinforce this knight. Weld this knight into e4 with the tempo, please. He has to try bishop e5 here. We'll play bishop d6. Hold on to the e5 pawn. Of course, bishop e5 is pinning this knight, so we do need to defend this pawn. All right. We'll take here. He takes with the knight. Okay, we could just play bishop d7, just defend. Man really has nothing here. Queen b3. What are we doing now? I mean, we could try queen h4. I don't think there's any need for it. Let's just take here. All right. What are we doing now? Let's just play c6. Get a tempo on the bishop. All right, I'm going to castle here. We have a bunch of pieces pointed at his kingside. He can regain the pawn if he wants. That's where the good news ends for him, though. I think this is going to go very badly. I really like queen h4 here, because queen h4, we're just playing for checkmate. If g3, we can take with the knight. He takes, we take, he takes, we take. We're down 2 pieces there, but I'm about to win this back, and his king is completely weak, and our bishop is ready to invade there. So I think that's winning. Let's play that. Queen h4 here. Going for the knockout punch.
It's time to go!
Yeah, this leaves this bishop hanging, but if he ever takes, we're going to have checkmate. All right, let's take here. And yeah, so if he takes this bishop, we're going to flick the knight over here for a check, just sacrificing the knight so that my queen can break through with checkmate. All we need to do is clear this diagonal to get a checkmate here. Okay, taken again. Playing for checkmate. Pure and simple. There. I have no idea what that's about. I think bro is just panicking. But anyway, we're going to take here. This should be checkmate. All right, that was a nice game. Let's go with f4, finally getting a bird. That flag, I've definitely seen that flag before. Is that Ethiopia? I'm going to bet that that's Ethiopia. Yeah, honestly, guys, I do want to go to Ethiopia at some point. It seems like a really, really interesting country. I'm waiting for like the right time though, right? Like trying to get, I feel like that's still one of those parts of the world that getting really good quality internet to upload videos and stuff would be, it would be a challenge. So because of that, I'm holding off on a trip to Africa. Probably around like 2028, 2029, I'll go to Africa. Because, yeah, just, it looks like an incredible place, honestly. Africa's always been a continent that really interests me. Anyway, though, let's get back to the long and short of it. Is that Ethiopia? Senegal. What is Ethiopia's like? Ethiopia has the same colors, but it has like a rooster on it. All right, we'll play c5 here. Just clean more and more space. Okay, knight c3. Yeah, so actually I was talking about Africa so much. We need to actually discuss what happened here. So he played bishop c5, eyeing this. Normally I'm against going for the stonewall setup, but the idea is here we are getting it with the tempo, so it's a lot less risky. They played bishop b6, and then I just tried to wall him in. His bishop should not be here. The idea is that if he plays c5, we'll play d5, and we're going to keep this bishop shut. All right, so man played bishop d7. Yeah, we should be much better now. He traded this bishop preemptively. We have the bishop pair. Another nice thing about this capture is that now our b file is open and we can start taking pot shots at their b pawn. Yeah, that was definitely his best bishop, right? Look at how many pawns he has on light squares here. He does not want to, he should not have traded off that dark squared bishop. Bro's going to be feeling foolish very soon. Mark my words. Okay, I guess he's putting his knight on a5. Let's play rook b1 here. Knight a5 isn't the end of the world, though. I can always play knight e5. Yeah, what is happening here? Bishop c8. We could definitely play knight e5. C4 also looks nice. C4 is a nice way to try to undermine them. The problem with c4 is that we don't really ever want to make this trade because then we'd just be opening the e-file on these weaknesses here. And this is tricky stuff. I'm not sure if I should play knight e5. Knight e5 will liberate my position a bit, but it will also allow him to trade this knight off. I feel for that reason we shouldn't go for it. I think we should be playing for the g4 break long term, actually. So let's play h3. I'm going to play king h2. Yeah, it's going to take quite a while, but I think ultimately I could play for this g4 break. It's going to take a really long time, though. Let's throw in a check here. What is he going to do? If he blocks with the knight, then he's just made a backward move. All right, we could play knight e5 now. Knight e5 now makes way more sense. Yeah, let's play knight e5 here. Let's see what he's going for. I think he could actually castle. I'm not sure if I'm threatening anything, because if I take, he plays queen d7. I'm not sure I have anything there. There, so I was hoping for a move like that. Now we can take. We're going to nab this pawn, and once we get rid of this pawn, this knight starts to feel very loose. This knight becomes very unstable. Got myself a nice coffee here. Delicious coffee to start the morning off right. Yeah, weather has definitely tapered off. It was extremely hot yesterday. Today it's just in like the mid-20s. Not too bad. It was really, really bad yesterday. It was legitimately time to go. All right, what am I doing now? I'm just waiting for me to be able to like just get rid of this pawn somehow, right? Because then this bishop would finally have prospects. All right, yeah, what are we doing here? I mean, a key thing here is how am I going to meet knight e4? Yeah, I guess if he plays knight e4, we should have the bishop on e1. I don't want to have to trade this off. That would not be a fun idea. Let's play bishop d2 for now. I'm hoping he gives me time to put the rook on b1 before playing bishop e1. But if he plays knight e4 immediately, we'll just have to settle for it. We'll have to make some sacrifices. And yeah, we're going to be keeping hold of both pawns. Given how many pawns I have on dark squares, this is by far my best bishop. We do not want to trade this. That's not going to be good for the light squares. There. All right, let's just play king h2. I don't know what that was about. Really not sure what that was about. Can play bishop f3 next, target this knight. Honestly, we should just leave the knight there, though. The knight isn't doing anything. I guess maybe he could eventually go for this, but if he ever does that, we'll take here. Yeah, that doesn't even really do anything. Even if he takes with a check there, we could just move our king back, and he hasn't gotten anywhere. Yeah, this looks like a great position. Okay, he's timing out. Got ourselves a timeout. Rook f6, never mind. Bro's playing for keeps. Okay, but now his knight is locked in. Can't we? Well, if we play bishop f3, rook h6 looks tricky. What about if we play g4? Takes. Our king looks weak, but we're winning a knight, and I don't see a way for him to immediately engage his pieces. We do need to be very careful when we're pushing something like this, given how many heavy pieces we have sequestered on the other side of the board for the moment. I guess sequestered is a wrong word. We can always engage these pieces back, but it's going to take them a few tempi. Even so, though, I don't see a way for him to muster any serious play here. Takes, e5, that would be the critical move to try to engage the queen on the board. But even there, we could just take, and I don't see any... I don't really see anything serious for him there. Yeah, if he plays queen g4, for instance, we could just take with the f-pawn, or we could even take with the d-pawn. It's going to take him a while to organize any activity. We do have a bunch of pieces around the king side already. Yeah, this just looks winning. All right, takes. Why not just take with the rook, right? Trade off his active rook. Get rid of that piece. Tell him it's time to go. Okay, there. We can put our king on g3 as a joke, but yeah, king g1 just looks safer. Let's just go with king g1. No need to risk it. Man has absolutely nothing to do here. I guess going forward, what should we play for? We could play for c4. We should just start to undermine this to eventually get this bishop through. This knight is still really bad. At the end of the day, I won a piece, but all the normal positional issues with his position remain. All right. Bro abandoned the game. It was time for bro to go. Okay, playing against the English opening. Let's play e5 here. Yeah, honestly, I have not figured out anything for this, for against the English, so I'm just winging it. I like this e5 bishop e4 stuff, though. This is silly stuff. It's really not that bad, actually. a3, let's just take here. This looks like a reverse bird almost. We just don't have the pawn on f5. We can always go for that later, though. Let's play d5 here. Very weird position. All right, I'm playing d4. Aiming at the queen. He should try queen g3. Yeah, I'm in a little bit of trouble. Let's play knight a5 here, drilling the knight in. He can win a pawn if he wants. I'll play king f8. Or I'll play bishop e6, actually. Yeah, I think I have good compensation, honestly. My knight is very good here. He should play d3. Honestly, I'm a little suspicious that this guy is cheating. He's just rattling off a lot of very good moves. But, you know, we're going to stay humble. Going to stay grounded. Innocent until proven guilty, as they say. And by that I mean I'm going to report this guy to chess.com immediately. Maybe even during the game. All right, there. Yeah, this guy's playing a lot of fantastic moves. But whatever though. We're just gonna keep it going. Play queen e7, attack this pawn. He's taken there, we'll take here. Yeah, I mean, not only is he playing good moves, but he's just playing them very quickly. That's part of why I'm suspicious. But you never know, you know? Like, that's the really big thing. It's not that these moves are unforeseeable for a player like this, but it's that he's finding them so quickly. All right, we'll play queen e7 here. So we're down a pawn. Honestly, I played a bit risky there. I just was not expecting anything to really happen with this. Let's play knight h5 now. He's going to play bishop e2 soon. Let's play bishop g4. All right, knight h5. Knight is coming into f4. Okay, I'll take here. This looks like I have decent compensation, actually, because this pawn is going to be very weak here. Yeah, how do I want to make sure that I control the dark squares. Let's play c5 here. He should take... Yeah, dude is just playing literally all the best moves. I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. I don't know, I'm like 85%, maybe not 85%, I'm like 75% certain this guy is cheating. Because it's just too many good moves way too quickly. Okay, we have a dark square blockade now. So I think we should be okay. Next up I should play g5. And by okay I mean I'm gonna be groveling for a draw, but it's not gonna be that bad. Let's play queen d6 here, defend the knight. He plays g3, we can take. I'm going to play g5 as soon as possible. We want to play rook e8, g5, just hold these pawns back. Notice that we want them on the same color as this bishop. That way it's going to be very hard for him to usurp control of the dark squares. All right, I'll play rook e8 here. Just waiting on bro. We do need to be cognizant of this bishop g4, bishop e6 idea, though. Yeah, dude. It's very funny. Yeah, now g3 is a big threat. Wait, can't I play h5 here? Yeah, let's try h5. Let's see what he's up to. If he plays g3... Yeah, I think this guy is 100% cheating. He keeps finding very, very good moves. f5. I didn't even consider that. I'm not sure about that, though. That's really risky. Let's just get this pawn up the board. Yeah, I mean, somewhere in the first minute of this game, I just started really suspecting that this guy was cheating, and essentially I'm just trying to wait him out. Like, at some point he has to turn off the computer, right? Because if he uses the computer the entire game, he's 100% getting banned. So that's what I'm just strategizing for right now. Where should I put the rook? Let's put the rook here to keep some extra defense here. Yeah, this... All right, I'll play... Oh, I ate through... What am I doing? That just dropped a pawn. All right, yeah, I'm honestly a little flustered. Okay, I'm just going to resign this game. I want to review this. I don't know, man. Was he cheating? Oh, I really don't know. I really don't know. I'll report him. I'm not certain because there's this dip here. I really don't know. Like, he just finds a bunch of great moves. Granted, I just was playing something silly. Like, the speedrun isn't even to play the English opening. I think I'm like 90% certain he cheated because just to find all these good moves so quickly is very, very difficult. Like queen g3, this came up on my radar immediately, but I think for someone who's 1,000, they wouldn't see this move instantly. And then there are just a bunch of things like knight a5, takes, bishop e6, d3. All right, I mean, d3 isn't that good. Knight b3, rook b1, takes here. Man, I really don't know. More than anything, it was just the speed with which he was doing it, though. Queen e7, this isn't an accuracy. Interesting, what am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to just take and then play a5, something like this? a5 is a mistake. What am I supposed to do here? a6. Oh, and takes, rook takes, and yeah, I'm getting active very quickly. All right, I mean, let me know in the comments what you think. I'm really not certain. I really have no idea whether or not... Yeah, I got no idea. Let me know in the comments if you think I was wrong to report him. I'm honestly not certain that he was cheating. I'm just reporting him, and like chess.com will do the rest. But yeah, it's time to go. Let's keep it moving. So we got one loss on the scoreboard now. All right, f4, knight f6, knight f3, g6. Let's play c4. Hopefully we can get... Are we going to get a turbo Grunfeld? Please play the turbo Grunfeld. Okay, no, we got a King's Indian. Let's play e4 here. Let's play d4. Knight d7 is supposed to be incorrect from what I understand. The theory here is castles, we play d4. Sorry, the theory is castles here, we play d4, and then they play c5, and it turns into a 4 pawns attack. All right, so man castles here. I think we should play e5. Normally when we're this far behind in development, we should be careful about pushing this. But here his knight has no good options. His knight can't go to d7 or d5 in this position, so that would lend credence to the idea that we can go for this here. I think taking this way is better. Man, is taking this way better? I really don't know. All right, well, now we should be doing well. g4 is just going to trap the knight. Yeah, I'm like 95% certain that last guy was cheating because he just played so well and so quickly. Like, all of his moves were findable for someone his level, but just not that quickly, though. All right, he's taken here. I don't want to run into bishop takes g4 tricks, so let's take with the knight. Of course, we want to avoid this. If I take here, then he's going to take with check. He takes. All right, what should we take with? Let's take with the knight, actually. I think that's slightly better. My king still might want a castle. It's not critical that my king castles, but it still might be optimal for my king to castle, so I think it's better to burn tempi with the knight. He takes there. We'll take here. His knight's going to have to go to g7. Oh, what am I talking about? He could just go there. Yeah, I mean, truth be told, here I am suspecting people of cheating, and I'm missing really basic things. Birdmaster is tired, guys. I'm a tired boy. I'm an exhausted chickadee. Here I am. Honestly, I'm just working a lot on the course. I'm not in a bad mood, though, because I'm not sure if I mentioned it, guys. This course is going to be done super quick. This 2 Nights Tango course, I'm already like 10% done. I can get 10% done in a week, pretty much, so we're like 9 weeks away. This is going to go by fast. I want to play bishop h6, but I don't see what it does. Could also play bishop e2, but I'm not sure if I want to do that either. What should I be doing with these pieces? Let's just develop. All right, I guess I will put the bishop here. It's not particularly strong, but it does do something. It's just a nice place for the bishop to go. I could play knight c3 maybe and rook d1. Knight c3 looks good because look at this. Rook d4, we have knight b5. Yeah, ultimately I'm just up a piece here. I just need to wait for the weaknesses to create themselves. Let's play rook d1. I wanted to play knight b5, but then I was thinking about it, and if we play knight b5, then he checks and brings this other rook over. It gets a bit messy. Gets a bit messy, gets a bit feisty. All right, we'll trade here. Now that he only has one rook on the board, it makes a lot more sense to go for knight b5. Even better, though, is bishop e3, just shooting through this way, because this doesn't allow rook e4. My knight stays controlling it. Rook h4. All right, we're going to take here. So this is an important moment, guys. I want y'all to pay attention to this. Look at what's going on here. I'm taking this pawn, he's taking this pawn. Why am I okay with that trade? Well, pretty much I'm up a piece here, and when you're up a piece, all you need to really focus on, if you can target pawns and win them outright, that's good. But if you can't do that, if you can just create an outside pass pawn on another side of the board, then your extra piece is it's just gonna run circles around their enemy pieces. So that's what we're going for here. Now I have a 3-on-2 majority here. If he wants, he can take, and then win this pawn here. Still got the broken mouse, but yeah, if he wants, he can take, and win this pawn. I'm gonna get this pawn in return, though. Knight f4. All right, he's going for this. Yeah, let's just take here. He could check and then... Okay, he's doing that. I thought he was going to check and take this pawn. Let's play b3. Bishop's going to go back to e6, and I just need to run this pawn off the board. Maybe this was a mistake, actually, because now my pawn is just in the firing line once I push. It would make sense to stop the knight from coming to d3. I'm not sure if knight d3 is the biggest problem, though. Let's just play bishop b8. I'm just focused on getting these two pawns a clear path, as clear a path as possible. c5. Okay, that makes sense, but now, I mean, the bright side is that my bishop is defending that pawn. a4, bishop takes, a5. That looks completely over. Let's just go for that. He can get one pawn. It's not really my concern. We're going to play a5, and this pawn is going to run down really quickly. My bishops are covering so many of these important squares here. Bishop c4. He's going to have to just sacrifice the bishop there. Let's just take this way. It's over. Taken again. Pushing this. Pushing again. All right, we're making a queen. Going to take here with check. Just play queen h1. Yeah, it's time to resign. All right, we'll play knight f5 here. Queen h7, just going for checkmate. Okay, back on the leaderboards. All right, we got another king pawn. Playing black against the king pawn. Bishop c4. We're getting so many Italians. d3. All right, we'll play bishop e7 here. Knight c3 will castle. Yeah, honestly, I should probably reveal... Honestly, I'm supposed to reveal what I play against d3, what I recommend against d3. The problem is I just haven't reviewed the theory for so long. I'm ready... Honestly, yeah, I gotta just do my homework. The whole point of the speedrun is that it's an advertisement for this course, so... Next d3 game, I will play my recommended stuff. Yeah, I mean, okay, this should be slightly worse for black, but it's generally like just fine. You just get these doubled pawns here and you're going to shift your queen over. Technically, this is slightly worse for black. I don't really think anyone under FM level is going to be able to manage this type of position, though. It's really hard to play for an advantage here. It's very hard to play with both sides. A critical thing, though, is you do not want to play d5. If you play d5, then you weaken the e-pawn, and all of a sudden he's just going to power down on this e-file and wait for the right time to take. You got to be patient. That's really critical. Playing rook b8 here, setting up b5, b4 ideas. Very, very weird stuff at the moment. Now if he plays d4, we can play b4, kick this knight out, and then win the e4 pawn. So this is interesting. We could play a5 and b4 to take back with the a-pawn. I think playing b4 would be even stronger, though, because then we'll take with the knight, and we'll quickly be ready to play c5 and queen a5 here with a huge attack. And we could always play a5, a4, a3 to undermine his pawn anyway. He's taken there. That's not good. You don't want to do that. That is not a wise idea. You do not want to be taking pawns that your opponent is already trying to get rid of. If he plays bishop e3, we even have checkmate here. Check here and mate. That'd be beautiful if he fell into that. I guess he should play knight b5 here. This is going to get very bad, though. Let's play c5 here. I'm just going to play queen a5 next. I guess he has to try c3 here, but that's not a pretty situation. c3, queen a5. c takes, queen takes. I'm winning the bishop. We could also play knight a2 here. Yeah, why not play knight a2 first? Nothing wrong with throwing in knight a2. Play queen a5 next, hitting the knight. Also have ideas of queen a4. If he plays c4, we just play knight b4. I guess he could play rook a1. Rook a1 would have been tricky, but even then that had to be winning for black. All right, we'll play knight b4 here. I think he's getting checkmated. If he runs back to either of these squares, he's getting checkmated. If he plays king c3, then that's a little more frisky, but he must be losing there. Like, there's just no way you can keep your king on c3 and be okay. All right. Nice. That was a quick game. Just continuing to rise the ranks. Let's play f4 here. Knight f3. Okay, we'll play e3. We're going to play b3 soon. Knight c6. So if he goes knight c6, we want to hit him with the pin immediately. Just freeze him out ASAP. Bishop f5, that doesn't really do anything. I want to see what he's going for. We could definitely go for the chop right now. Actually, I think, yeah, we could definitely go for the chop right now. Let's just do it. You could also just wait it out, though. All right, and we'll castle here. So he has this post-chop structure. Generally, if he has not advanced the pawn to c5 yet, we're going to be more focused on drilling our pieces into c5. c4 is going to be a little less powerful because it's not holding the c-pawn back. c4 is still an interesting idea, but it's just not as strong. Let's play b3 here. I'm going to put the bishop on b2. Yeah, this looks very good. All right, how are we going to handle this? I like knight e5 drilling into this pawn. If he wants to save the pawn, he'll play c5 when then he assumes one of those uglier structures. With the pawn on c5, we'll be quick to play c4 there and keep this bishop pointed in it. Yeah, this looks very good. Take with the bishop. Of course, we're keeping the bishop's lanes open. This is actually an interesting moment, guys. Normally, I recommend taking with the pawn in such positions, but because his bishop is outside of his pawn chain here, that implies... Man, my mouse is broken. Because his bishop is outside the pawn chain here, that implies that actually it's going to be very hard for me to mount an attack because he could just park his bishop here. So because of that, I'm just taking the more positional way with the bishop. All right, let's play queen e1 here, get the bishop out of danger. Yeah, it looks like white has a big advantage here. I'm going to play d3, knight c3, knight a4, drill into the c5 square. All right, I'm not sure what that does. Let's play d3. I think he's in a lot of trouble. Look at this. Knight d6, I have queen g3, and I'm shooting through these two. He should try f6 here. I think he has to play f6. Yeah, if he doesn't play f6, then he's not going to be able to protect g7 in time. Knight f6, okay. Queen h4 looks very strong. Look at that. Queen h4. I'm threatening bishop takes f6. Queen a5 is also good. We have a lot of good options here. I think before in that position with his knight off of f6, I was more worried about him playing f6 until we had to rush, but here we can just take it slow. We can just keep it simple. Let's just drill the knight over to a4 to drill into this weak square on c5. Guys, I said it once, I'll say it again. If they don't have a b-pawn, then that means their c5 score is very weak, and you should be aiming your knight at a4, most likely. There. All right, I don't really see what that does. I guess he's trying for knight g4 eventually. Bro can do whatever he wants, though. I'm just going to be chilling. Knight's coming into c5. Also, I could think about putting my queen on a5. This is one of the main reasons we want to put our queen on e1 rather than e2 in these structures. There, he's trying to get the chop. We're going to move out the way. Bishop d4. Look at this bishop on this prime treehouse here. Sitting large. Surveying the whole board. This reminds me that whole treehouse analogy reminds me of this video game I used to play, Dynasty Warriors 4. I think they must have come out with like 20 new sequels to it. But back in the day, man, Dynasty Warriors 4 was the game. And they would have these random archers just hiding in these tree towers, and you couldn't really get them unless you shot. You could shoot arrows at them, or you could even break the tower down and have them fall to the ground, when then you could fight them in hand-to-hand combat. But yeah, that was a great game. Lots of great memories. Okay, he is trying for e5 sooner or later. We should honestly be a little bit aggressive here. I think h3 is good because then it forces his knight back. If he plays e5 here, I was intending that we could just retreat our bishop. That would be good. But even better there is we just take him, we're hitting their second minor piece. So we'll play h3 here. Yeah, Dynasty Warriors was an excellent game. I'm thinking about that game. I spent so much time on that game. There's like some special upgrade you could get by like doing a lot of work. Like you could max out the player's weapon, and then you could even get level 10 weapons if you fulfilled a special type of mission. And I did that for like 3/4 of the players. I loved that game. That was part of the reason I just got so interested in Asia, is playing that game. Yeah, really cool fun fact about that game, by the way, is that It's actually based on like Chinese history, which is wild. I was walking around. Where was I walking around? I was walking around either Hong Kong or Taiwan, and I noticed these familiar looking names. And I realized, oh, these are the Dynasty Warriors characters, and they're actually based on like rivaling warlords in feudal China. So that was pretty cool. All right, let's play Queen C3 here. Aiming at C6, aiming at G7. This looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm thinking about that. That game was awesome. You could just ride around in elephants. Just running around in elephants. All right, I'm just going to snack on this pawn, man. Never too late to get snack in here. I could throw in G4 whenever I want, but I'm not sure that really does anything. His bishop is already misplaced because the knight wants to come here. I think when he prepares to put the knight there, though, I should play G4. There. He probably has to play that. Should we take or not? Well, if I play bishop c5, then he takes and he opens up the e-file for his rook. I'd prefer to do it this way. Taking here is not a problem, right? His e5 break is not a problem if he's not able to open the e-file. And because I have my bishop pointed here, he's not able to recapture with the rook and actually maintain pressure on the e-file. Where should my bishop go now? I like bishop c5. I mean, there are a lot of good moves here. Bishop b2 would also be fine. Bishop c5, rook e6 looks weird, though. Let's just play bishop b2. Just keep it simple. I guess he's going to play rook e6 now. Queen g5, yeah, man. Man is going for the... Man is trying to break through. Let's take this pawn with check, though. Thank you very much. If bishop e6, we could take on e5. Just keep snacking. Man could play there. Can't I get snacking this way, though? So we take, if he takes with a rook, I take this rook. No, look at this. Takes, he plays rook d8, and I'm losing. We don't want to do that. He's threatening this here. Let's just stay patient. Let's play queen f3, defend h3, also do it with a tempo. I guess he's going to try bishop e6. I could play knight c5. This looks fantastic. All right, now I could definitely play bishop takes e5 because his rook has nothing to do, right? If he takes with the rook, I just snack on the rook. Takes, I'm just going to bring my bishop out. And if nothing else, I have finally a great scope on his king. He could take here. He's attacking this. But no, then I play bishop f4. I'm just winning there. His bishop is going to be hanging. Yeah, let me know what your favorite character, if you played Dynasty Warriors 4, let me know what your favorite character was. That game was awesome. Who did I like the most? I like that girl with the discs. What was her name? Sun Shang-xiang. Yeah, she would just throw her discs around and it would just do a lot of damage. That was a good character. Who else? Who else was a good character? There were a bunch of great ones, honestly. And it was really weird. Like, all of them were supposed to just be normal physical weapons, but then there were two strategists who could shoot laser beams. And that didn't make any sense, but I didn't complain at all. I was happy to shoot the laser beams. All right, we'll play bishop f4 here. Just aiming at the knight. I'm going to take here and undermine this bishop. This looks like it's the end of the game. Yeah, there was one other guy as well. There was a guy who could throw bombs. Yeah, the guy, Huang Gai, for the Wu army. He could throw bombs. That was a great one. I gotta stop talking about this, man. People are gonna just... People who click this video for the chess are gonna be very confused about what I'm talking about. Especially those who click midway at this point. But yeah, I'm just up several pawns here. There's really nothing to discuss. Taking the bishop, winning a piece. All right, we're just up a piece here. Also, one of the beautiful things about the bird is you get this fantastic structure here. All right, he gets one pawn, but that's the end of his good news. You keep a fantastic structure. All these endgames are so good for you. Oh, and I'm thinking there's one more character. There was the woman that was in the Nan tribe, I think. Like, that was the more barbaric tribe that was focused more around the rainforest. And what was her name? Zhurong? I think she had some name like that, and she had a boomerang. All right, I gotta stop talking about this. This isn't a Dynasty Warriors video. This is a chess video on birds opening. Please buy my course. All right, we're gonna go for the check. This check doesn't actually do anything. I'm not sure why I did it. I'm just too full of the vinegar thinking about Dynasty Warriors 4. I really love that game. Like that's one of those games that even now, like I know probably the graphics have been very outdated now by this point and everything, but it's still a good game. Still a fine game. All right, I'm just not letting it. I'm not gonna give him an inch. He's not taking a single one of these pawns. Yeah, it's definitely time to resign. This pawn, knight, and rook are gonna easily finish things off. All right. Yeah, let's keep it going. Playing f4 here. I'm gonna go with knight f3. Okay, we got a Fromm's Gambit. I don't think, yeah, no one has played the Fromm's correctly. Okay, so yeah, knight c6. What do we do here, guys? Be very careful. d4 looks great, but it drops a pawn to queen h4. Do not fall for the trick. Play knight f3 and stay humble and stay grounded. All right, I'm just taking. So now this transposes into a normal Fromm's Gambit. Normally this would have come about this way. It would have come about d6 takes, bishop takes, knight f3, and then knight c6. Here we play d4. Yeah, d4 is interesting. We're seizing a lot of the center. It does look like we're weakening e4, but we have that under control. All right, he wants to take and then play queen h4 check. I remember this position well. We have to be a bit careful, right? Because there's this trick as well. He has takes, knight takes d4, queen takes, then bishop g3 check. So the best move, if I remember, is c3. If he takes, we take with the pawn. He gets this check in, but it doesn't matter. We have a fantastic center there. Like, look at those pawns then. We would have four against 2, and our king would just be able to walk to c2 with a comfortable extra pawn in a completely winning position. All right, there. I want to play h3, but that would not be good. Then he's going to play bishop g3. Don't fall for that trick, guys. It's not good. Why can't we play knight d2 here? Yeah, let's play knight d2. Defending the knight. We do need to be a bit careful about going for this, of course, because if he gets a check here, we're just going to be getting checkmated with this square blocked. Yeah, I don't see anything for him. I guess I'll play g3. I have to get this bishop out somehow. We could also play e3. g3, knight d5 looks risky because his knight is getting in here, but then we could play knight c4. I didn't want to play knight c4 that soon because then I thought he has knight e4, but g3, knight d5 is knight's moved away from e4, and then knight c4 would make more sense. All right, we'll go for that. I think I have to remember to review all these games. I'm gonna look back through these games to just like find some nuggets of wisdom. All right, 97. I guess his knight's coming around this way. Maybe he's trying to play c5. This looks very slow though. I think I should be completely winning now. His knight's also blocking the rook. e4 actually makes a lot of sense now because he's blocked his rook. It's going to be very hard for him to get something going in time. Yeah, because e4... Well, what if he plays rook e8, though? Bishop g2, knight f5? That's actually still tricky. Yeah, okay, we'll just play bishop g2 here. I'm not gonna get fancy, get arrogant. We're staying humble in the Dragon's Den, people. It's just that simple. I guess man is going to try knight f5. We'll play knight c4 there. It looks interesting. I don't see what he has here, though. Those scores are still secure enough. All right. Okay, so here actually knight e4. This looks a bit better because knight c4 he has b5, which I don't like. I like knight e4 because f5 is more positionally ruinous for him. You do not want to push your f-pawn if you don't have an e-pawn. Almost got bingo here. Bro needs to put his knight on c6 for the love of the bingo. Look at that. We'll have 8 pieces. Or he could play c6 as well. Yeah, c6 is the less tactically risky version of it. Knight f5. All right, he really wants to put a knight on e3. Let's just play queen d3 here. Looks risky, but actually, yeah, what can he do? What is he going to do? He cannot undermine this knight. He cannot get a little more control over this square, and if he can't do that, then he's going to suffer. Even if he gets a knight here, this wouldn't be the end of the world. It would just mean he has some type of compensation. All right, c6. That seems like a pretty pointless move, though. Like, clearly he needs to get something going much quicker if he wants to get real counterplay here. Stabilizing this knight was not the most important thing. It wasn't even coming under pressure that quickly. Something I haven't talked about yet, and I just didn't really have time to because I was focused on getting my king out. This bishop is actually very misplaced here. If I just move the knight out of the way, the bishop might be getting into trouble because h3 would win this knight. Yeah, knight g5 looks really nice. Look at that, because if his knight moves away, then we take here and we're playing for checkmate. That's very, very tricky. Like knight g5, I guess he'll try h6 there. But then I could take. He takes with his queen, we play knight e4. Yeah, let's go for that. I'm talking myself right into that. It's time to go. Very, very tricky stuff now. And yeah, his bishop just has nothing to do here. h3 is probably going to win material. Okay. I think he's just panicking. That doesn't really do anything. He's just giving away a piece. All right, he's just giving away a bunch of pieces. I guess Christmas came early this year, guys. Bro's in the holiday spirit. All right. Just hanging around here. Okay. Just going to trade things off. Taken here. Yeah, up 3 pieces, this is going to be really, really simple. The next plan of action, I just need to provoke some weaknesses here. At the moment, they're compact and relatively free of weaknesses. We're going to start pressuring it, though, because with 3 extra pieces, he's going to have to budge somehow. Is he just abandoning? Thought he was abandoning. Okay, we're going to take here. Nice. Might as well play one more game. Playing a lot of people from the Middle East. Dude, there's something about chess.com's geography. Whenever I put it to a Taiwanese flag, it was giving me people from Japan, Malaysia, Taiwan. Now when I set it to a Madagascar flag, it's giving me people from Africa and the Middle East. I'm very curious about what's going on here. All right, this is the Ponziani. I'm not ready. This is going to be in part 2 of my course. I'm not ready to reveal what I'm going to be recommending because honestly, I'm not even sure when part 1 is going to come out. I think part 1 is going to come out maybe in March or April, and part 2 will probably come out 3 months from whatever part 1 comes out. So we're looking at like 6 or 7 months from me actually being able to reveal the course. F5, this looks very weird though. Let's just take here. I don't think F5 could be that bad. This is called the Ponziani Countergambit, by the way. Very, very cool stuff. Bishop g5, that can't be good. I think he's supposed to just take here. Yeah, because now look at this. I'm going to respond with this counter threat, and he has to take here, and... oh, well, that's not good. He should have taken here, but I would take back with the queen, and in that position, I'd be defending e5 enough. I'd already be much better. Because I will have just netted this pawn on e4. Knight h4, I'm just going to take this. Definitely seems like it's time to go. All right. Let's just play king f8 here. I guess he can win a little material back. That's the end of the good news for him, though. No more good news at the good news shop. Knight f5. I don't know what this guy's doing. He's definitely not cheating, though. He's just playing aggressively. He's really trying to get the W. But, yeah, it's just not going to work. I'm a grandmaster, pal. All right, knight g3. So we have a bunch of moves here. One that's really cool. We definitely don't have to play this way. We could just play more generically with like g6. Knight f6 would be great, but that would be hanging the bishop. But we have plenty of moves here. Like we could just take and win the pawn. We can do a bunch of things. But the best move actually is this. Look at that. Just going for the pawn. How is he going to defend this pawn here? Knight takes e4. All right, he's just panicking. He wants to play bishop c4. I can tell. I could read bro like a book. Bishop c4, we could just play queen e8. Yeah, he wants to play for checkmate. I don't blame him, though. g6 makes more sense, right? We're just blocking this. He has no other checks here. All of these are covered. His best move is queen e2, but no one really wants to play that. No one wants to retreat like that. Let's just take here. I want to take back with the knight. Also clearing the square for the knight. There. He still wants to play for checkmate. This guy's being very sneaky. Let's start by developing the bishop. he plays queen d5, we just trade. He plays queen f3. We'll just take and just keep winning material. Queen f3, knight e5 is also very strong. Yeah, I like knight e5 more, actually. Yeah, I just don't, I don't know. I'm thinking about the game that I lost to the guy who played the English opening, and it just seems like everyone else at this rating is making a lot of mistakes, and maybe they'll find some good moves, but after like 30 seconds thought. And then it was that one guy that was just finding great moves within 5 seconds. I'm a little suspicious. I'm a tad suspicious. All right, let's respond with a check. Look at that. Blocking the check with a check. We'll take, and I'm still going to be winning more material. Yeah, this is... It's really time to go, man. Literally collecting the whole house here. Let's take this. I'm going for every trinket. Every trinket and every trifle. He's still going for checkmate, man. I honestly, I admire this guy's ambition. This guy has a real baller's ambition. A real champion's ambition. I was going to say hustler's ambition, but I realized that's an album. That's a very famous album. Yeah, we could play c1 whenever we want. I just want to make a queen, though. There. All right, bishop d3. Let's just make a queen. Just be simple. All right, h5. Oh, that's really funny. Look at that. That's practically stalemate, but look at the... It looks like stalemate, but he can take here en passant. That's really cool. He's going to spend like a minute. If he doesn't know... Okay, he does know what en passant is. I was... Yeah, that would have been funny. All right, bishop f3 here. Just locking his king in. He has to play h7, and that's going to be checkmate. Nice. Very cool game there. All right, one last bird game. I am going to try to analyze at least the important parts of all of these right after this video. Or right after this game, I should say. Yeah. Guys, I'm going to start trying to publish hour-long videos. Let me know if you like hour-long or 40 minutes. Let me know what you want. I'm doing it for the fans, guys. It's all for the subs. Thank you, by the way, for hitting 5,000. It's great. It's a great day in bird history. All right, let's play... I remember in this position, if they play c5, we play knight e5 here. I'm going to go for h3. I want to play g4. We're going to go for the Chernobyl porcupine. Very, very weird stuff here. I mean, essentially, this is just a reverse Leningrad versus the London. But playing it up a tempo makes it a lot better. Normally, the Dutch against the London doesn't work out so well. The Dutch against the London, it's not the end of the world, but it's just risky, and it's slightly better for the London. All right, man's playing h5. Let's play g5 here with tempo. I'm going to swivel the knight over to h4, dig into the bishop here. He plays bishop h7. We have queen takes h5. He should not allow this to ruin the structure here. I think he has to play knight e7 here. If he doesn't play knight e7, we're just going to take, and that structure is going to be awful. Bishop f5. All right, I don't think that's good. Because this pawn is overworked, right? We could take here or take here. Both of these are going to win. Let's just take here. Let's keep it simple. I'm taking here. Yeah, this position looks really bad. f6? No, that can't be good. Because look at this. He really wants me to take here. Like, this is actually made with good intentions. Like, this is a strong idea. The problem with it is just, it's going to leave his pawns looking awful if we can find a way to keep them fixed here, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to play g6. He might even be able to win this pawn at some point, but the point is just that this is going to damage his pieces so much. Even if he does win the pawn, it's going to cost him a few tempi, and it's just going to hurt the harmony of his position in so many other ways. Right, not to mention even here, just if we look at it, the whole motivation for this was he wanted to clear the square for his knight, right? And once we push this, now his pawn is going to be fixed here forever, pretty much. And that means the knight is always going to be restricted. So he plays rook h6. Let's play bishop f3 here. Just aim at this pawn. If he ever takes, we take here with a pin. This looks really, really bad. These pawns are all very weak. I guess he should play knight b6, but that's not going to be any fun for him. Knight e7. All right. That's a better idea. Let's play rook g1. I still have control over the knight. I could take and take when I want. I don't think there's any need to rush that, though. Yeah, this pawn is going to be extremely weak because he can never play g6. This pawn is also going to be weak because he can't play g6. Both of these are going to fall like apples at some point. Let's take here. I could have also played knight c3, actually. Look at this. I can play d4 here. Why can I go for the stonewall structure in this position? Well, it's because this knight has no real way to get to e4. Look at that. If it ever goes via f6, it just won't be able to get there because then the pawn is covering it. It also can't get there via c5 because my pawn is digging in. We just need to be a little careful about this pin. Let's play bishop d2 here to make sure that that pin doesn't exist. His knight doesn't have access to c5, and yeah, this should be completely winning. I'm going to play queen e2, get castled, and at the right time. All right, I guess his knight's coming to d5. We need to be a bit patient here. Just make sure to keep everything under control. If I keep this under control, come to think of it, he's also threatening rook takes d4 here. Yeah, this should be completely winning. I'm also up a pawn as well. I forgot about that. But yeah, I'm up a pawn. This pawn here, unless he's able to win this pawn outright, he is going to have so many problems. I guess he should try queen e8 here. c5. Interesting. Can we play bishop a5? I was thinking about bishop a5 a move ago, and I wanted to play it, but I just wasn't sure. Bishop a5, queen c7, I'm not really sure where we're going with that. I don't want to take here. Because if I take here, I'm left with this weak pawn. We want to keep the d4 pawn on the board. Let's play c3. Yeah, knight d5 doesn't really do anything. Let's just castle here. Am I missing anything? No, he has nothing here. If he takes, we just take this way. I'm going to get my king out to safety and then play queen d3 to target this pawn. Both of these pawns are really serious targets. I was just more focused on consolidating. Also, another thing is because he's played c5 now, our bishop always has targets on this diagonal. He can never play c6 to build cement there. Queen c7. All right, let's play king b1. Just get out of the way. Man doesn't have a trick in the world. Man doesn't have a ghost of a trick. He has to try knight e7. He just has to. So a really interesting positional decision here would be to take this, and the motivation for that would be once I take here, he has almost no way to fight for any of these squares. His knight is one of the last things that can defend the light squares. And so because of that, in a weird way, my bishop would actually be making a good exchange here. And notice that my bishop would have a lot of trouble targeting both of these at the same time. It's pretty much not going to be able to, so my bishop would be limited in how much it can pressure among these. There. All right, I guess he's trying for some tricks here. I don't really see what that does, though. Yeah. Queen d3, what am I missing? Queen d3, just attack this pawn. I could also play queen g2 here, actually. Oh, cool. Queen g2, knight e7. I'm not anxious to take here anytime soon because then we're just going to be opening up the rook, and that's not a good arrangement to have with my queen and bishop. It would make sense to play h4 sooner or later just to fix this pawn as a weakness here, though. Wait, can we play c4? c4, knight e7, d5, that looks good. My only problem there is we're giving up this pawn. All right, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do something interesting. I don't think we had to go for this, but I like it. I'm going to take here first so that he has no way to undermine this g6 pawn. And then I'm going to play c4 and d5, fixing this pawn in the way of his bishop. And that's going to really restrict his bishop's options. He's going to move the rook back. We'll play d5. And it's just going to be extremely hard for him to ever target this g-pawn. And more than that, it's going to be very easy for me to target these now. All right, and yeah, let's play d5 here. Nice. This looks good. How is he even going to defend this pawn here? This pawn is so hard to defend. His queen pretty much needs to stay on one of these two squares. That's the only way for him to defend this pawn in this structure. And I guess his queen could also be here. We haven't even mentioned it yet. This rook is also really bad here as well. There are a lot of problems with this position. Okay, we're going to play queen d3, collect on f5 soon. I guess he's going to try b5. That's the only way to even make a trick here. I could play b3, though, at the very least. Queen takes f5 should also win as well. I mean, b3 looks simplest. Yeah, he could take and open up the b file. My king is just going to hide here, and I'm going to be the one to be checkmating him. He's playing with less pieces on the queen side than I am. His rook is far more disconnected than any of my pieces. All right, we'll just get the king out the way. Yeah, if his bishop could use this diagonal, he might have some tricks, but luckily for us, both of these pawns are fixed here. Oh, he could play queen d7 now. What am I doing? I'm just, yeah, I'm definitely a little confused here. Yeah, I should have just taken on f5 first. I have no idea what that was. I just got tunnel vision. I got lost in the sauce. All right, queen d7. We'll play bishop c3 here. We still have a lot of tricks, and I mean, honestly, it's still a completely winning position. It's just going to be a lot harder if I'm only up one pawn as opposed to two. If he plays bishop d6, we can snack on this pawn because takes we have g7 there. I like d6 now. Look at that. We're just breaking through. Where's his bishop even going to go here? He has a choice between two really depressing options. If he goes here, we're going to play queen d5, hit this, also hit ideas of queen g8. Yeah, this is starting to get very bad for him. I guess he's going to try bishop b6, but then we can take. He takes and then g7. Yeah, and that's completely over. I mean, another idea in that position is just queen g8. He plays bishop d8, and then what? Even there, we could take on f6. Because takes g7, that should be over. All right, this looks completely winning. Yeah, I don't see how man is getting out now. There, g7. I guess he's going to try to take with his queen. Then we take. No, that position is hopeless, though. Both of these checks should be winning on the spot. Okay. This has to be over. Can we play rook g7 here? The point of rook g7, I just want to deflect this queen away. When he takes, we could check. And, yeah, okay. That position, that looks over. If rook c7 there, for instance, we could just take and then take here. Yeah, let's go for that. Rook g7 looks nice. Distracting the queen. We got two queens on the board. It's very easy to deliver checkmate. There's just too many tricks he has to watch out for. Let the record show, though, there are a bunch of wins here. Like, this would also win on the spot, because takes, we have rook g8 there. He's playing there. Can we take, and then check? There must be a win here. Oh, look at this. We could play check. Deflecting the rook, he takes here, and then we check here. That has to be over. All right. I think it's time to go, pal. I'm wondering, is d7 better? No, let's just go. Why am I always complicating things? Yeah, there's too many problems with this position here. Like, even with just one queen, this would probably be winning, but with two queens, this definitely has to be winning. I think we could just take here. There are a bunch of wins. Taking here also looks cool. d7 takes, check. Is there a checkmate here? Well, what about this? Check here. Check there. Check. He has to block with the queen then. Then we take, or we could take here. I mean, there are just so many different wins here. What is the best, though? I think this is probably the simplest. All of these are relatively simple, though. Let's go for this. This looks by far the best. They should all work, though. All of these are just completely winning. All right. Let's play check. He's going to play bishop c7. We'll take. He has to play queen c7, which no one wants to make. And we just take here. All right, perfect. So let's look at this first. So this is game number This was the last game that I played. So we got f4 here, all of this. Yeah, bishop f5, e6, d3. So this is a classic Chernobyl porcupine, h3 here. Setting up ideas of g4. A lot of people play h5 here, and then you just go g3, and we're going to fianchetto shadow this way. Knight c6. All right, this all looks good. Knight h4. And yeah, already he's in some trouble here. I think he has to play knight e7. Interesting, though. The problem with knight e7, though, is how is he ever going to develop this bishop now? Notice he's in sort of a catch-22. He wants to get the knight out, but if he ever does so, we take and ruin the structure, right? Like castles, knight f5, we take here. And this is exactly the structure I want to go for, right? He has weaknesses on both of these pawns now. To his credit, he does have finally a decent square for his knight, but that's about it. Both of these pawns are going to be very weak. As the computer points out, we want to just play e4 at the right time, and we're going to get something like this, and eventually we are going to get more access to these pawns. Another way to do it, you could even take with the knight. I guess the computer doesn't like this because if we take with the knight, we turn this square into an outpost for him, and his knight becomes very good. But the idea is that we do want to just eventually increase the amount of channels that we have to be able to target these pawns. So to that end, we would want to clear this diagonal, which now we've done. We can always play queen e2, queen c4. We would also want to maybe clear this diagonal out eventually with h4 and bishop h3. And yeah, this should be very good. The computer's only saying this is 0.6, but this is a very nice position. So knight h4, he played a big mistake with bishop f5. I just won a pawn here. f6. I was really happy with g6. Apparently h4 is even better, though. Look at that, because takes, we have a fantastic structure here. Very good pressure here. If he ever plays g6, we could play e4. Look at this. e4 is really nice. Look at that. The idea of e4, I'm probably just going to play e5 and seize a lot of space. I could also think about taking, though, as well, just to undermine this g-pawn and deflect it away from the h-pawn when I'll be able to win h5. All right, so I played g6. It's not the end of the world, though. This is still an important device to remember. It's an important positional tool to remember, this g6 push, because it's leaving these pawns looking very, very weird. I don't even know what you would call this structure. This looks like this is the Santorini structure. Let me know, guys. If you guys have ever been to Santorini, you know that this is this is the geography of Santorini. It's like there's like a main island on one side, and then there's like a little place where the boats go, and you can have lunch on the other side, but pretty much no one lives on the other side. But anyway, rook h6, bishop f3. We got this. Really nothing left to discuss here. I'm just up a pawn. Computer didn't like this. I didn't see the problem with it. Apparently I'm supposed to play c4. I didn't see what I was doing after knight e7, though. Interesting. I completely forgot about this. Look at this. Both of these pieces are locked out of his queen side. And even though this knight is technically relevant to the queen side, it's probably going to have to take here. So ultimately he's playing down these three pieces. I could just go for an attack here. I could play bishop c3. He's going to do something like takes, and we could just go for an attack immediately. I didn't even realize, yeah, I'm threatening to take this pawn here. So he probably has to take first. And then he's going to take here. But even then, we have like 4 separate pieces that all can play a part in the attack, and he only has 2 pieces that are remotely close to defending. Queen d3, immediately threatening checkmate here. If bishop e7, then we just go check and mate. Yeah, this attack is over. It's time to go. All right, and then yeah, once this happens, I don't really think there's anything else to discuss. Back here, I should have just taken with check. This would have been far simpler. Takes, queen d7, takes, and then just king c2. I just have 2 extra pawns here. I'll just play bishop c3 and then run these pawns up the board and have 2 connected passed pawns here. All right, let's look at the next game. Look at this game, guys. This looks really beautiful. I'm going to put the graph up for y'all to see. It's an amazing graph. So f4, yeah, we got the Froms here. Do be careful about this. Do not play d4 here. If you play d4, they play queen h4, and you're not going to be having a good time. They're going to win this pawn, and you're going to be left with your remaining pawn being weaker. You're probably going to lose this pawn as well, and you're actually just going to be down a pawn. So do be careful about that. All right, knight f3, we got this, d4. Yeah, d4 is the theory. If you've done my bird course and you've done the Fromm's Gambit chapters, this is what I recommend. Bishop g4, c3. This is a very nice move. A lot of people get scared about bishop g4 because if they take here, they're threatening queen h4. You do need to be a bit careful. If you play something innocuous like e4, you could get into a lot of trouble. Look at what could happen here. Takes, and then knight takes d4. And now you're in the dragon's den, because if you take with the queen, you lose the queen to this check. This nasty trick. So the best move is c3, just reinforcing the pawn. And I've gotten this position a few times. A lot of people are going to take here. You take back, they hit you with a check, and you just go king here. And you're just up a critical pawn, and they don't really have anything to do. I forget which tournament it was. I think it was one of just like the casual tournaments I was playing in Argentina. But I literally got this position in a game, and I won it very easily. Because this is just, you're just up a really critical pawn here. You're just going to play king c2, and then slowly develop, and eventually you're just going to have two extra pawns and the two extra central pawns and the bishop here. Technically, you're only up one pawn, but in the center, you're up two pawns, so very, very good position. All right, so knight f6, I played knight d2. Is knight d2 good? Bishop g5 is best. I'm always hesitant to do this, though, right? Because if they play h6, I don't want to trade. I don't want to give away my bishop, but actually, yeah, takes. We have time for e4 here. Interesting. Computer's saying both e4 and knight bd2 are good. Look at this. Knight bd2, castles, we play e4. I'm always a bit afraid of going for this because the thing is we are far behind in development. You know, this looks very scary. But here they don't actually have a trick. We'll just play bishop d3 and castle here. In general, though, do be careful about going for this because normally if you do not, if you rush with this and you go for this at the wrong time, you're just not going to have enough pieces to back up this pretty looking center. And so to that end, you got to stay humble and stay grounded. So I played knight d2 here, g3. Man played knight d5. I just brought my knight to e4. Yeah, he has nothing now. This is a classic thing that happens in the From. If you just can handle the From well and just stay patient and stay humble and stay grounded and you just wait for your opportunity, normally they're going to overexert. They're not going to be patient enough to just trust the long-term compensation. Like here, his best move here is c5 when he's just undermining our center. We're going to do something like castle here and then takes. And, you know, we're up a pawn, but it's not that easy to move these because his pieces have gotten into the game first. Our knight on d2 is also a little misplaced now. It would rather be on c3. And yeah, he has some compensation here. White is a bit better, but it's not going to be that simple. But the thing is most people are impatient. Most people have only studied one variation in the Froms, and they're just trying to checkmate. And they're under the impression that if they don't immediately have some tactic, that they need to just throw the kitchen sink at you. All right, so man played knight d5. All this happened. Castles, queen e7, and he has just nothing to do here. I played knight g5. I thought that was good. Apparently, I'm supposed to just play h3 here. This is even better. He can't play bishop h5 because then we'd win a piece with g4. He should take, then we would take, what are we going to take with? I would take with a rook because I like defending this and hitting the knight. Computer says literally all of these captures are good, though. So we'll take with the rook. And yeah, if they play g6, we can play knight f2. Look at that. That's beautiful. We're just playing for e4 here. His knights are immediately going to have to start backpedaling, and it's not going to be pretty. Look at this. Like, he's going to have to play something like knight c7, e4, knight g7, e5. Wow, his bishop is trapped. Yeah, I guess, yeah, his pieces are then going to have to go to really bad scores. Look at that. He has to go here so that it doesn't block the bishop. e4, knight g7, e5, bishop c7, knight g4. We're up a pawn. We have the bishop pair. We also have really nice phalanx here. His knights are useless, and his dark squares are weak. So, in other words, this is completely winning. All right. After I played knight g5, he just started sacking everything, and this became a very easy game. So let's look at the next game. Wow, this was also a really nice game. I guess there's one dip in the graph, but it's not that bad. That's still a fine graph. There's just this one dip here. All right, so f4. We got this. We give him the chop. Give him the chop, give him this weak square, and that's going to be the focal point of our positional efforts. Bishop b2. Takes. He trades here. Apparently f takes is better. What? I didn't think that. I thought that with his bishop going to g6, we wouldn't have that much here. d3? What am I missing here? Let's just say he plays queen e7. What am I missing? Queen e1. Let's just say he plays c5. We play knight d2, bishop g6. Where's my big advantage here? I'm trying to understand why I'm so much better here. Like, let's just say he moves his king around. We play queen g3 here. Oh, okay. Guys, I completely missed this. I did not realize this. I assumed this bishop was going to be good here. It's actually going to be a target. We're just going to be playing for h5 pretty soon. Um, yeah, I just had assumed his bishop would be completely solid here. Like if he plays h6, we're just slowly going to build up on the king side. This is shocking. I don't believe what I'm seeing with these lines here, but yeah, white is much, much better here. We're going to play rook af1, rook g4, and once we play rook g4, once we play something like rook g4 here, this h5 push is going to happen. It's going to be very dangerous. And that's if he plays h6. Let's say he plays h5, because it just seems like it's, how am I going to actually break this? The computer wants us to play e4. All right, so this is just, this is sort of shocking. Like knight f3, let's just say he keeps waiting. Play bishop a3. Yeah, I'm sort of, I'm extremely confused by all this. All right, guys, honestly, I'm going to have to get back to you on why this is so good. I am going to remember this in my positional toolkit. I'm just going to remember this. I would assume, honestly, I'm not 100% certain why this position is so good for white. I would assume it's partly that we have a nice activity against the bishop, and the other thing is that he can never really play c4 under good conditions, and so this pawn on c5 is always going to be a really big target. Besides that, what else? I would also assume we're going to eventually be able to chase this bishop out. He's going to have to go for something like h4, h5 at some point. And my guess would be now in this position, we might eventually be able to play queen f3, g4, takes, queen takes, and then we're going to have real threats on the king side with h5. I had just assumed we wouldn't have time for this, but you know, maybe this is what it is. I honestly, let me know in the comments if you understand this position. I honestly, like, not to toot my own horn, I do think this is one of actually my really big skills, is that I'm humble about these types of things. If I don't understand a position, I'm not going to lie and act like I understand it. I would have assumed white might be slightly better here, but the idea that it's plus 1.2, plus 1.1 is insane. Like, I never would have guessed that. Another thing we have here as well, okay, we have e4. That makes sense as well. Look at this. When we have this e4 pushing a lot of positions, and look at what it does here. If he ever takes, he's going to leave these pawns far weaker, and he's going to be giving our knight the e4 square. Meanwhile, if he doesn't take... Okay, and now I'm starting to understand this position. If he doesn't take, we're going to play rook e1, then take, and at the right time break with e6 when all of our pieces are going to be pointed at the king side, and we're going to have a lot of attacking chances. All right, so I think I understand this position. I'm not 100% certain, though. Anyway, let's look at the rest of the game. So I took with the bishop. He plays bishop g4, queen e1, d3, knight f6. He should have played f6 here. I had pointed that out, that he needs to just blunt my bishop while he can. He plays knight f6. I played knight c3. Apparently I should play queen c3. Look at this grip. He can't even defend the c-pawn. If he plays queen d7, we can snack on this. And takes, takes. Up a pawn, his dark squares are weak. This is completely winning for white. All right, so I played knight c3, knight a4. All this happened. I'm waiting for that big dip. There was a dip in the evaluation that happened somewhere. So I won a pawn. Apparently this is a mistake. I should just play bishop b2. Why is this such a mistake? Here, queen g5. Oh, okay, this makes sense. Look at this. Rook e6, rook g6 is an option here. And he's going to have a lot of attacking chances. I thought I would just play queen c5 here, but now he can take. And if I take, all of a sudden he gets a very good attack. Check here. Yeah, this is scary. Look at that. Check here. This is a mess. If I take here, I'm getting checkmated, I think. But a computer's saying I have to take here. And then check here. My king is going on the run, but I am up 2 pieces. Yeah, this is just a mess. Oh, apparently if I go here, I am getting checkmated somehow. Maybe not checkmated, but I'm going to lose material. I have to give away the queen here. And I check, and something like this happens, and yeah, white is worse. Even here, technically, I think the material is equal, right? No, white should be up a pawn here, because white has knight, bishop, and rook, and black has a queen and pawn. The problem, though, here is that my pieces are a bit discoordinated, and he's going to play something like check, and that's going to force my king to a really awkward square. I can't go down here because the rook would hang. And if I go here, my king is going to be too close to the enemy pieces, so I have to go here, and yeah, this is not going to be fun. Check here. Black is definitely better. My pieces are just too unstable to mount really good counterplay. All right. So yeah, apparently I should have just avoided this by playing bishop b2, because now in this position, if he plays rook e6, I just move my queen back, and he doesn't have these moves. He doesn't have these moves. He also doesn't have these moves. So the bishop takes h3. Stuff doesn't work. Takes. He has no check here. He has no way to involve his pieces on the board, or involve his pieces on the king side. All right, so here all this happened, and yeah, now I'm just winning. All right, guys, I think we're going to end here. Thank you all for watching. It's time to
Wake up and smell coffee!